Hey guys, Jacqueline Fernandez here at the Alert Center. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We are talking about some gross, pesky, disease-ridden bugs, essentially, that are now coming out now that the weather's warmer. And unfortunately, all of us are starting to come out as well during the spring and soon-to-be summer months here in the greater Omaha metro. So joining us now to talk about my favorite topic here at the Alert Center is Jeff, who's going to join us from DHHS, the Department of Health and Human Services, to talk more about ticks, okay? So, Jeff, I always get itchy. I don't know if you do. Maybe you're used to this as an epidemiologist, but tell us more about these pesky critters and why we're specifically talking about these creatures now.
Well, ticks, they're one of those banes of our existence. And, as we come into spring and summer here, we typically start to see our activity in ticks really start to pick up. It's getting warmer out, so they're becoming more active. We typically have a little bit more rain and stuff going on that allows for a little bit more humidity, and ticks really love that humidity. So combine those two things together, and, we start to see those ticks really get active, and, they're coming out of kind of their slow down. They're not completely gone in the winter, but they're certainly not as active. And so, we're definitely starting to see them become active right now.
Okay, I didn't know that they like the humidity, so that's a good one to know. Maybe that's why, you don't want to, wear all these heavy clothes when you go outside, and we will get to that in a second here. But tell us a little bit about, when we're going outside, though, and we've got these ticks around us, we do have a map, a tick surveillance map that I'm going to show our viewers as you discuss it. But this is something that, we can take an active approach to looking at our specific area when it comes to the types of ticks that are around us and really what we can do to learn more to protect ourselves and our loved ones.
Yeah, we really like it. It's a great tool, and it's one of those things where we wanted to be able to provide that information to the general public as well as other folks like healthcare providers, so that they can take a look themselves and see where ticks may or may not be found in the states, as well as what other pathogens that they may or may not be carrying. And so we really like this tool because it gives you kind of that data, so you can make that informed decision yourself, whether, okay, if I'm going here, what do I need to be on the lookout for? Healthcare providers, it can be like, okay, what kind of diseases do I need to be thinking about if somebody happens to come in saying, hey, I was bitten by a tick, a week or so ago, and now I have these symptoms. So we really, really like that information and be able to provide that to the folks that are out recreating in our wonderful state here. And we just wanted to give folks that information so that they can make the decisions on what they want to do.
Yeah, so it's always better to be kind of educated about your surroundings versus not. And one thing that I thought, as we take a look at this Nebraska tick surveillance map, I thought this was interesting. Here's a look at the United States clearly, and you get very specific. So we can kind of zoom in to our state here, right? So here's a look at the state, and then if you zoom in more, you can take a closer look at the county. And then let me head over to the Nebraska-Iowa border here and try to find Omaha. Here we go. Boop, so Douglas County here by Sarpy County, and we are in the red. And what does the red mean? If I kind of zoom out, this is what shows you established, okay? So what does established mean? Can you tell us more about what that means here on the map, Jeff?
Yeah, so CDC has two definitions that they use when a tick is found. There's either going to be established populations or reported populations, and so established is something, a statistic that CDC came up with. Basically what that means is we've either found two different life stages in that county within a given year, or we found at least 6 or more individuals in that county of that tick species in that given year. So it's just a statistic that kind of helps us determine, is that tick there? Is it actually, didn't just happen to be a one-off that we found, maybe it fell off a bird or a deer wandering through the area and we just happened to come across it. Whereas reported tick populations are basically, have only found one life stage of that tick in a given year, or we have found fewer than 6 individuals of that tick species in a given year.
Sure, and these are really small. Let me kind of backtrack here. I mean, I was just showing you some images of these ticks, so they're not always that easy to spot. And of course, they do carry diseases. And on the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services page, there is a plethora of information that you can kind of click and decide what you're interested in learning more about. But now is the time that I wanted to that I alluded to earlier. Wanted to discuss some tips for people who may be outside hiking. Maybe you're outside hiking with your family. Maybe you're outside hiking with your furry friend. What are some tips to prevent tick bites, avoid those tick-borne diseases?
So, there are a number of things that individuals can do. We can't eliminate the risk 100%, but, we want people to go out and enjoy those outdoors. We have some great recreational and park areas, and we want people to really go out there and enjoy nature. And so we do have some tips that people can do to really reduce that risk of coming across ticks, tick bites, and avoiding tick-borne diseases. So the first is, going to be know where you're going. And so again, that we kind of already talked about our tick surveillance map, but that can kind of help you tell what kind of ticks may or may not be in the area. So that can help you get an idea of what habitats maybe to be on the lookout for, where these ticks might be found. The second thing is, clothing, dress appropriately while you're going to be out there. And so we usually recommend wearing some lighter colored clothes. It makes it a lot easier to spot any ticks that might get on you. Additionally, tucking those pant legs into your socks is a really good idea. Ticks usually hang out a little bit lower to the ground.
Gotcha.
On some blades of grass or some other vegetation. And by tucking your pants into your socks, it really makes them climb upward, and hopefully you can see them before they become attached, and so that you can just kind of pull them off, and find them easier that way. Additionally, there's some certain other methods, chemical treatments you can do. You can use what's called permethrin, and this is a repellent that can be put on clothing as well as other camping gear, and it works really, really well to repel ticks. And we find when we go out in the field, using this really, really helps reduce the number of ticks we actually find on ourselves when we're actually out there trying to look for ticks and collect them. Additionally, people can use repellents on the skin, such as DEET. Usually, DEET's probably the best to use, but there are some other EPA recommended repellents out there that are available, and you can actually go to the EPA website. They have a little search tool that you can put in a bunch of information, and they can give you a recommendation that way.
Cool.
Additionally,
there are a lot of things. I'm sorry, we don't have time to go through every single one of them, but the point is there are many ways that you can protect yourself from these tick-borne diseases right here on the DHHS website. So very important to know, and again, just use your best judgment, right? And you've made it easy for us with the tick surveillance map that is very user-friendly, just kind of clicking on it and scrolling in and out. Jeff, is there anything else that you wanted to add, or do you think that pretty much covers it for now?
I think that covers most of it. Really, it's all about personal protection. So again, we want people to go out there, enjoy the outdoors, and enjoy those parks and recreation areas, and really just do those personal protection methods that we have on our websites, and that will really, really help reduce that risk of coming into contact with ticks or tick bites. And we just want people to go out there and have a safe and fun time while they're out about going outdoors.
Yeah, no reason not to go outside. Just do so and be well prepared. All right, Jeff, thank you so much for your time. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice meeting you too.
All right, have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Thank you. All right, so if you are just joining us at the Alert Center, we were just discussing tick season. It is here, it is coming. The humidity adding an extra layer of ticks. So very cool thing here from the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. You can actually kind of take a closer look. I'm just getting this map ready for you on their surveillance map. This is very cool. Here it is. So here I kind of zoomed out on the United States here for you. But if you're, perhaps you're going on a hike and you want to take a better look at where exactly the ticks are in your area, you can zoom in on your state. Here's the state of Nebraska. They have it down to county, which is also very cool. focusing on the Omaha area. So we have Douglas County here, and then you can see Omaha coming up, and we are in the red, which means this is an established area. So they have found at least 2 kinds of ticks in our area that are well-known species, and there's much more you can learn about this on their website. They have these different various types of ticks. Doesn't look very fun, but educate yourself. And of course, there are clearly tick-borne diseases and things you can do to keep yourself safe from perhaps getting bitten or dragging these guys into your home if you can avoid it. So without further ado, let's take a look at the weather and see how tick-friendly the weather is going to be these days, right? So here's a live look from our Blackstone camera. Senior Chief Meteorologist Rusty Lord anticipates today will be partly cloudy. There you have it. Look at the skyline there. 60% chance of scattered storms after 4 p.m. Isolated strong storm with hail and wind potential, a high of 76 degrees out there. Tonight, 60% chance of scattered storms. Isolated strong storm with hail and wind potential tonight as well. So maybe carry your umbrella around. Chief Meteorologist Emily Roller was mentioning that last night as well. As we take a live look from our Children's Nebraska camera, Thursday, 80% chance of on and off storms. So yeah, the time to carry your umbrella is now. And then Friday, taking a live look over 144th and Dodge, mostly cloudy and breezy out there with a high of 67. So that's your forecast as it stands at the moment. But for the latest, you can always head over to our website. That is firstalert6.com. We can head over there now. Let me refresh this grid for you. And here's this teal banner for you for our First Alert 6 weather day. Strong storm potential on Monday night. You can click this to undo the sound here. But this is this severe alert for you as well. I'll leave this as a sort of web extra. In the interim, though, just want to say thank you so much for joining us at the Alert Center this afternoon. Please stay tuned to our broadcast at 3 o'clock with our Dave Zavolinsky, and we'll see you then.